The fines were supposed to muzzle her. Instead, they worked like a megaphone. One week, Sophie Cunningham was a veteran wing finding her lane in Indiana. The next, she was the loudest heartbeat in women's basketball, calling out shaky whistles, standing in front of Caitlin Clark, and turning every be quiet into fuel. You could see it in the way crowds reacted when she checked in. You could hear it in clips that ricocheted across timelines. The league tried to dim it. The numbers climbed. Here's the twist. This didn't start on a podcast. It started in the scraps highlight reels. Ignore hand-fighting box-outs that thud. A teammate who plants and says, "Not today." That edge didn't just protect Clark, it gave the fever a spine. Once fans felt it, they didn't just watch Sophie, they rallied to her. So when the invoices landed, $500 here, $1,500 there, Sophie didn't blink. She shrugged, doubled down, and kept telling the truth. Not to be edgy, to be clear. That's why every fine backfired. It taught her something simple. If they're willing to charge you for saying what the whole arena sees, the words must be landing. And once a voice like that catches momentum, it doesn't scatter, it sharpens. Trades look tidy on paper. Names, picks, press releases. The move that brought Sophie to Indiana was about something the box score can't track. Posture. The Fever had a phenom who bends defenses from the logo and drags cameras into every arena. What they lacked was a teammate who treated cheap shots like debts to be collected. Sophie arrived with a ledger. From day one, her role was obvious. Clark warps coverages. Sophie warps attitudes. Opponents could chirp and bump, but not uncontested anymore. You felt that promise the first time she cut to the lane and set a legal screen with bad intentions. Nothing dirty, just a message. We're done being polite about contact. Fans clocked it fast. It wasn't the later stare downs, it was subtler things. Tagging rollers, walling off elbows, hitting Clark in rhythm when possessions got muddy. She didn't chase co-star moments, she created space for the star. That's loyalty you can't fake. And Clark's quick trigger game suddenly had a bodyguard who read the room as fast as the playbook. Sophie spoke plainly too. No buzzwords. Asked about Clark's impact, she said the quiet part out loud. Clarity travels. Tests follow. There's always a rookie poking, a vet pushing, and a night the whistle vanishes. Sophie wasn't filming a sequel. June 17 felt less like a game and more like a pressure valve snapping. One swipe across Caitlin's face, one blindside body check that folded her mid-stride. Then the sound 20,000 people make while waiting for a whistle that never comes. Sophie didn't wait. On a break, JC sprinted ahead. Sophie wrapped her, a hard foul that stops a play and starts a conversation. Benches rose, tempers spiked. Officials circled like lifeguards who spotted the rip current late. Context made it explode. For weeks, arm bars at the arc, shoulders through screens, hand checks becoming grabs. Everyone saw who was absorbing the worst of it. Watch long enough and you either look away or draw a line. Sophie drew hers in thick ink. The fallout was instant, flagrant, ejections, fines. Commentators argued intent. Fans cheered something simpler. Someone finally said, "Enough." They don't want chaos. They want fairness. Protect the star who puts them in the building. Every time that didn't happen, the tally grew. On June 17, it spoke. Sophie wasn't auditioning. She made the unglamorous choice. Teammates remember, take the hit, send the message, eat the consequences. It's blue-collar leadership, and it played. The next morning, clips looped, debates flared, notices went out. The league moved on, fans didn't. Indiana wouldn't be pushed around. It started as a shirt and became a signal flare. Pre-game, Sophie rolled in wearing white, cartoon faces, hers, Caitlin's, Leches, under a cheeky caption. Trey Leches wasn't just merch, it was a manifesto. 3 teammates, 1 page, 0 apologies, timelines lit up. Comment sections turned into pep rallies and courtrooms. Fans didn't just laugh, they chose sides. If you backed Clark, you backed Sophie. If you were tired of the dance around the obvious, you backed Sophie. If you wanted less whispering and more straight talk, you definitely backed Sophie. That T did something. Stats can't, it made loyalty visible. Everyone says together. Few wear it like armor. The moment she hit the tunnel, the temperature changed. Not a play harder speech. An image you could photograph. Brand followed bravado. Screens, huddles, quick answers. Each moment felt louder after the shirt. People love truth tellers, but they love declarers more. Sophie wasn't hinting. She was declaring the season's thesis. Defend the star, defend the standard, stop pretending otherwise. Visibility cuts both ways. The T that gave fans a banner gave critics a target. Every bump became intent. Every line became evidence, but the persona stuck because it was real. The shirt matched the player, edge on court matched voice off it, momentum needed no push. First came a song, a quick lip sync, a wink that said more than any caption. Sophie didn't name names, she just hit post. The clip did numbers. Everyone knew who the joke was for without her spelling it out. The league spelled it out, $500 on paper, that stings. In reality, it looked like a receipt for engagement. Sophie basically said what fans say nightly, finding me $500 won't do shtuck. If the goal was timidity, it did the opposite. It made her trend. Here's the trick. The W still hasn't learned. Punish a personality. You gift them a plot line. The fine wasn't a muzzle, it was a trailer. Aggregators grabbed the quote. Fans stitched the clip, and the question shifted from, should she post, to why are players paying to say what arenas are booing at? Sophie didn't chase sympathy, she chased clarity. Refereeing is hard, and inconsistency kills the vibe. Can both be true. That balance kept her audience. She didn't snarl and vanish. She grinned and doubled down. Momentum is the retention key. Casual viewers feel immediately. The league bought a night of discipline. Sophie bought a month of relevance. And she knew borrowed platforms have ceilings. If you want to set the pace, build your own room. So she did. Some players wait for a microphone. Sophie built one. Show me something wasn't a hobby. It was a switch. The second she hit record, guardrails came off. She didn't rant, she reasoned. Refereeing is hard, she opened. So nobody could claim she was swinging blind. Then came the blade. If simple calls keep getting missed right in front of you, what are we doing? It landed like every fan yelling at a TV, minus the foam finger. The pod gave cadence to conviction. Story, standard, solution. Not heat of the moment fumes, patterns the league should break. When the notice arrived, $1,500, Sophie treated it like confirmation, not punishment. You don't find noise, you find resonance. Her audience heard the difference. This wasn't anti-league, it was pro-accountability. She praised great crews, broke down angles and timing, then said the quiet part. Right now, Clark is the face. That doesn't erase anyone. It reflects reality. Fans hate spin. Sophie served plain talk. Clips formed their own ecosystem. One-liners became captions. Teammates nodded. Opponents bristled. The stickiest bits weren't scorchers. They were plain English. That's rare oxygen. A spicy TikTok the league can tolerate. A weekly can't-miss show? Different animal. And soon she aimed that lens at a brand new flashpoint, a rookie phenom's whistle. Some moments rattle a league because they press a shared nerve. Dallas did. New star, gorgeous footwork, velvet whistle. Every bump on Paige drew air. Every bump on others drew nothing. Sophie didn't wrap it in PR. She said what veterans mutter, if you can't touch her, say so. If you can, call it both ways. It wasn't jealousy, it was symmetry. She praised Paige's game. No one doubts the talent. Then asked why contact is a crime in one jersey and a chore in another. That's not trash talk, that's a standard. Fans felt it because they've seen it 100 subtle ways. One star glides, another grinds, and the box score swears it's the same. Q, find number 3 and a louder conversation. If officiating wants respect, it needs predictability. If rookies get reverence, say it so everyone adjusts. What kills trust isn't a tough night, it's a moving target. The clip traveled because it wasn't mean, it was plain. Players don't need perfect refs, they need consistent ones. Touch here, whistle there, okay? Then do it for both. The penalty turned her point into proof. The system would rather ticket the messenger than tune the message. By now, the persona wasn't just about Clark, it was about principle. And that clarity gave her confidence for a different grenade, the map itself. The easiest way to start a fire is to poke a hometown. Sophie didn't whisper. She asked out loud whether certain expansion spots truly moved the needle, naming proud cities and contrasted them with places players rave about off record. Not a dunk on zip codes, a reality check. Where do athletes want to live? Where do sponsors swarm? Where do casuals say, I've got to be there? Backlash arrived on schedule, fans clapped back. Headlines flared, Sophie clarified without crawling. She explained the calculus, travel ease, entertainment, brand upside, how a city treats women's sports, and left the core idea intact. Momentum matters. That's the sticky part. Behind closed doors, every league weighs the same grid. Can buzz become butts in seats and long-term revenue? It's not just arenas, it's nightlife, content studios, corporate partners, and the intangibles that make a road trip feel like an event. Ambition isn't an insult. Players want full buildings and full calendars. Sophie said the quiet part because she lives the quiet part. When your job is selling a sport in real time, you learn which crowds hum and which hum louder. Candor draws invoices like lights draw moths. But life then tossed a harder check. A knee that said, not today. The season paused, the voice didn't. It wasn't a scuffle, it was a plant, a twist, and a knee that said no. MCL, adrenaline turns into forms, hardwood into hallways. Most players dim the lights here. Sophie turned them up. Post-MRI, her feed didn't beg, it organized. Updates with humor, rehab clips stitched to game notes, gratitude minus violins. She let people into the grind. Range of motion, strength work, first steps, and made it feel like part of the season, not the end of one. The body paused, the brand pressed record. The pod didn't skip. Without travel, the prep sharpened, praise what's great, bark where it isn't. Injury didn't weaponize her voice, it deepened it. Watching practices from the bike, you spot patterns, gasping players miss. She brought those straight to fans, clean, direct, unclippable. Trust grew because the tone stayed steady. No melodrama, just work. Ice, elevate, record, film, post. The schedule was boring, the consistency sticky. You don't have to agree to respect the spine. Indiana kept its identity. Spacing, pace, just enough snarl, but everyone felt the missing note. The huddles were one voice lighter. That absence proved her role. You can't cancel momentum, you redirect it. Take away minutes, she'll take the mic, which set up the next flashpoint. A studio hot take versus a player who doesn't blink. A studio mic tossed the usual bait, clout chasing, riding CC's wave, wink wink about maintenance days, old trick, new target. The clip farmed outrage like it was corn. Sophie rewired it. On the pod, she went calm. Here's what it costs to play through contact. Here's what day-to-day means. Here's why resting isn't weakness, it's how you make it to May. No shouting, no name calling, facts with edge. It landed like an 8 a.m. training room talk. Quiet, irrefutable. Fans heard the difference. The showman swung for outrage. The player swung for context. In 90 seconds, she did what hot takes don't. She made people smarter. Minutes math, bruise economy. The way a star draws whistles and wallops. Testimony beats theory. The closer stuck. If telling the truth is chasing clout, consider me sprinting. The insult became a mission statement. Suddenly, the question wasn't, is she riding CC's wave? It was, who else will say the quiet part and stand on it when the invoice arrives? Restraint made it sticky. She refused a blood feud and sharpened her core thesis. Protect stars, be honest with fans. Stop confusing critique with disloyalty. The studio needed Sophie to trend. Sophie didn't need the studio at all. Fines came, clips flew, a knee buckled, the voice got bigger. Sophie didn't invent the edge. She organized it. She didn't create the conversation. She clarified it. Protect your stars. Reward honesty. Choose markets that amplify the moment, not just fill a map. You don't have to agree with every sentence to see the pattern. When the product is loud, the league can't afford to be shy. Attention follows clarity. Fans don't require a villain, they need a spine. Sophie became that spine by keeping the rules simple. Play hard, tell the truth, pay the bill. The invoices marked chapters, not limits. Leches was a flag. The pod was quality control. The injury changed the microphone, not the message. Where does this go? If officiating steadies, the temperature drops and the basketball shines. If it wobbles, the echo grows because you can't penalize a question into silence. Expansion will sort itself out, but culture is the project. Will the W embrace unfiltered player leadership or tolerate it until the next sticky headline? That choice decides whether moments like this become flare-ups or foundations. Expect the familiar 3-beat rhythm, context, standard, punchline whenever the air gets tight, and if another fine shows up on schedule, so will the audience.